does it do, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Scotty Says. Welcome to episode 99. Oh, my folks. And I got a full pack episode in store for you. First of all, though, I have to say, I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. I hope your holiday break has been wonderful so far. You had some presents and ate some tastiness and whatnot and got to watch a little bit of football. And that's where I have to focus this episode, my folks. The NFL and the LA Rams. Now, squarely situated in the postseason picture, took on the New Orleans Saints at the Palace in Inglewood. And I tell you what now, last season, the Rams went on the road down to Louisiana and they played the Saints down there. And I did an episode and it was subtitled "The Saints March All Over the Rams." And they put a hurting on Matty from the D and knocked him out the game. And they whooped the Rams real good. And I tell you what, the only marching the Saints did this week was marching out of LA with that L on their heads as the Rams and Matty and McGenius get revenge from that beat down in Louisiana last year with payback and a nice whooping on New Orleans at the Palace in Inglewood this year. An early Christmas present, an L for the Saints. And so I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. It was a thorough shellacking, and there's plenty to get to just in the way of analysis, discussion, and so it is a full episode. The national media types, you know, the cult of McWonder types, the ferret, and, you know, those types, oh, they are gushing. They are gushing over McWonder. Oh, McWonder. And I'll tell you what, I am fair-minded. I call it like I see it. And I'll praise McWonder in those conditions when it calls for it. And when he is McWonder, I'll tell you every damn time. And unfortunately, my folks, well, there is a little bit of reporting that I have to do this week. And so I can't give McGenius a straight A on the game report. But what I do want to tell you is I give him an A-. I got to put the minus on it. Okay. But I give him the A, and I give him, you know, I only have 3 game balls to give in a victory, in a dub. And I am reluctant to give one to anyone that's not on the field for the actual combat of the game. But in this particular case, one of my 3 game balls from the New Orleans victory has to go to none other than Coach Sean McGenius himself. Congratulations, Coach. I saw a team, offensively speaking now, and the defense, I've been calling them every week because I am so impressed with what Raheem Morris has done with that defense. And I think people are recognizing it, and yet still I wonder, will anyone offer him a head coaching job? You see what they did with Brandon Staley. 1 year as the defensive coordinator for Coach McWonder. 1 year. Aaron Donald in his prime, AD 99, and the rest of that defense 1 year as coordinator, and they made him coach of the Chargers just like that and gave him a long leash too. And yet Raheem has shown us outstanding defensive units year in and year out, several years now, and yet no one even brings him in for a cursory interview. It's just foul. Foul, I call it. And so I hope that at least this year that will change. But the rest of the league's loss is our gain in the sense that he remains defensive coordinator for the Rams, and they've been putting up great defensive performances week in and week out. And I'll call them out by name, many of them. You know, I start with AD 99 the Beast, but it's so many of them. Kobe Turner, the conductor, he's making beautiful music. The rookie, leading all rookies in sacks, got another one against Derek Carr. These guys are, and most of them, you know, they sort of go nameless, anonymous. But these guys are playing at a very high level. And so, under the guidance of Raheem, the defense, I have to shout them out. And, you know, I tend to focus on the offense. That's just the way that is now. But I certainly recognize the defensive performances that they put up every week. And so a lot of what I've said in the past is that McBlenders can put a strain on your defense, and it happened again, you know. And again, I've said now, by McBlenders, I mean P&P. That's primarily what I'm talking about. I hope you've seen previous episodes. P&P, play calling and personnel. Those are the areas that are under McWonder's sole domain and control. And there have been dubious and questionable decisions in both domains this season and last. Okay? And so the national media types now, they're super quick. I told you, it's the cult of McWonder. It's that deity complex. All of the credit, none of the blame. You see? And so when the Rams win, when they are good, then McGenius, well, he gets all the credit. Look what he's doing. He's brilliant. He's a mastermind, they say. And I give him his props. But when they lose, then they all look elsewhere. Well, he has no talent to work with. Well, there were injuries. Well, they blame anyone, everyone. It's F them picks. That's what did it. It's Les Snead's philosophy. That it's something and someone other than at the main man's feet, at his tootsies. They don't hold his tootsies to the fire. And so I have been your lone bastion, an outpost of truth. You can come here, my folks. I will continue to broadcast from the outskirts of the city, and I will let you know the real, as I see it, what's going on at Rams Palace. And there was something more I need to report, but we'll get to that later in the broadcast. What I want to focus on, to start here now, is that Coach McWonder gets a game ball for me for the offensive performance. The offense, I mean, New Orleans, they were hit by that proverbial hurricane. The Rams offense just blew them off the field. They looked overmatched and overwhelmed. Dennis Allen, the coach of the Saints, looked outclassed by McGenius. And he looked to constantly be trying to keep up from behind. And of course, he was playing from behind on the scoreboard. But he made a couple curious decisions. And so, I don't know what his job security status is, but we know Mr. McWonders is quite safe as long as he wants it. He's probably got a lifetime appointment. Now, I have to say, because I'm giving praise this week, I have to say that I think, my personal opinion, is that Coach McGenius is the finest coach in Rams history. And that's St. Louis, Los Angeles, Cleveland, or anywhere else they've been. Okay? So I don't want anyone to get it twisted and think that I have some type of a grudge against McWonder. No. Oh, to the contrary. I was the one who said, "In McVay I trust." It was like a motto. Okay? I recognize the amazing coaching performance that he put on to transform the 2017 Rams from what they were under Jeff "Where is the bar" Fisher. I recognized it. And then the next year, take them to the Super Bowl. Took a couple, 3 years after that, but he won it. He got one. I think he can get a lot more if he stays focused. And I have said, speculated, perhaps, with the birth of a child and all that goes into it, and a new marriage and all those things, and the success and the youth, because he's a young fellow. 37 is all. 7 years coaching, and he's only 37 now. Wow. I remember when I first heard, I was ecstatic that "Where's the Bar" had been relieved of his duties. But when I first heard who the Rams had selected to be coach of the team in 2017, my first question was, "McWho?" That's what I said. They said who, and I said McWho. Well, I quickly found out McGenius, that's who. Okay, so it's just that over the years now, over the McGenius era, I've seen peculiarities, curious situations and things that make you wonder what's going on there. And so before I go too far down the rabbit hole already, I'll just say that I see the narrative. I see it just, it's avalanching, snowballing, the heaping and gushing praise. And they give McGenius credit. I've seen them. I've heard them. I've watched. They give him praise for the defense. No, I haven't heard. Only, I'll say, if I broke it down percentage-wise, less than 5% of the time I've heard them say Raheem Morris. I hear them say McGenius and that defense. McGenius, what a job with the defense. And it's like, McGenius isn't focused on that. McGenius is focused on that play calling. That's what he does. Okay, you gotta give the credit to the D, to Raheem. He, like you did with Brandon Staley, Raheem is defensive coordinator. He's calling out the plays. You see how he has that pre-snap, post-snap, change-up look he throws at the opposing offense? It had Derek Carr seeing ghosts. He was baffled, looking around, making mistakes. Okay? Give Raheem the credit that he deserves, like you did with Staley. All right? And so I watch, and they say, oh, McGenius, what a coaching job he's doing, that defense. And they say, oh, and McGenius, what an amazing job he's doing, how he has developed and the emergence of DeMarcus Robinson. They give him so much praise for that. And I say, what, the DeMarcus Robinson, the man who has never missed a year in the playoffs. Did you know that? I didn't know that until this week. I found that out. 6 years in Kansas City, made the playoffs each year. 1 year in Baltimore, led the Ravens in receiving and made the playoffs again. 7 years, 7 playoff runs. And you know what? He's set up for number 8 now with the Rams. But you can't give McGenius credit for him. In fact, it's the opposite. Go back How many episodes ago was I calling for the Demarcus Robinson in that wide receiver trio? Go back even further when I said, how can you have the Demarcus Robinson behind Stoney, behind Muffins? How? How can you? What is wrong? Remember? Go back and check these episodes. I've been calling for these things for weeks, months, some of these years. But in the case of the Demarcus Robinson, it's all on tape. Go back and check it. I said, how can you have this man third on the depth chart behind Stony Muffins? How? Now, finally, and I'm starting to think McWonder might be watching. What up, Big G? I'm starting to think he might be watching because so many of the things that I've been preaching about, they're starting to be incorporated. Yes, I'm going to take some credit. They are starting to finally incorporate these things I've been calling for weeks. Like balance. Who was it, my folks? Remember, go back several episodes. Remember, BALANCE. That's what we need, Coach McG. Do you remember that episode? Do you remember? I've been calling for balance. Remember week 2? They upset Seattle week 1. But week 2, them damn Niners and Father Shanahan came to town. And McGenius was wildly out of balance. Father Shanahan had Purdy throw it 25 times, had him hand it off 25 times. McGenius had 40 plus passes and 13 runs. Remember? And I called him out about it. Then you'll never beat your dada out of balance like that. Go back and check it if you don't believe what I'm telling you. I've been calling for this for months. Okay? I praise Shane Steichen because he stayed so disciplined to the foundational principles of running the ball, and McGenius himself finally admitted in the post game. I'll get to the quote, but it was to the effect of, I have maybe, he puts a qualifier on there, I have maybe gotten away from some foundational principles. He said it. No, I said it. And now I heard him say it. And it's true. You want to give him all the praise? You want to crown him? Go ahead and crown him. Okay? But the errors, the mistakes have cost the Rams some games. Okay? And remember, PMP is primarily what I'm talking about. Personnel and play calling. And you saw it in Baltimore. They could have beat the Ravens in Baltimore. Personnel and play calling. It was on display. Okay? But I give him credit because at the bye, I thought the Rams were cooked. Stick a fork in them. They were 3-6 and going nowhere fast. And now, fair enough point. Kyron Williams was hurt. Matty from the D was hurt. But look who your personnel was. Huh? Backing up Matty from the D, you got rid of Bryce Perkins for ripping and bumbling. And you started ripping and bumbling in Green Bay. And you looked, your offense looked atrocious. in Green Bay, it's in this same issue has kept coming up where you have an opportunity on that first drive of the game. You have an opportunity early when there's no score to assert yourself with a touchdown, especially on the road. We saw it in Baltimore. We saw what you did, and I called you McSquander, first and goal at the 5, and you threw 3 straight passes, and you squandered it after running 9 straight times. That is a McBlunder moment that will live in infamy forever. Okay? You McSquandered that touchdown. All you had to do was let K-Will finish them, and it would have been 7-0. But instead, you wanted to chuck it after 9 straight runs that had got you a first and goal inside the 5. You wanted to chuck it, and you ended up having to settle for 3. The heuristic experience, and you lost that game in overtime. Those 4 points that you squandered to start the game, wouldn't they have come in handy? Okay? But look at Green Bay now, just in the way of a reminder, just to catch you up to speed about what I'm talking about, because I know you've been watching the national media types, the ferret and those types in the cult of McWonder, and I know you've heard them. Any fault belongs to someone else, certainly not to him. Okay? And so that's why I say, come here, I'll give you the real. In Green Bay, with ripping and bumbling, you faced a 4th and inches and you decided to go for it. That part, yes, correct. But what was the play call? What was the play call, my folks? 4th and inches now. No score. Opening possession. Take charge. This is how you get a stranglehold on the game on the road. Inclement weather. And what do you call 4th and inches now? A lateral play to Stoney? A lateral, a jet sweep to Stoney. You lost 6 yards because Stoney, like his cousin Muffins, has a dreaded disorder, no yak at all. He's got no yak at all. All right? Stoney, on 4th and inches, takes the handoff and promptly loses 6. Oh, McWonder, what are you doing? You and your relatives, see, personnel and play calling. And now, because you lost that game to Green Bay, with ripping and bumbling and with your nephew Stoney, now Green Bay is lurking in the weeds for you. Because, yeah, you're sitting in the 6th seed right now. Oh, but it's precarious, McWonder. Because Green Bay, why, they beat you in that game. You and bumbling. And so, if Green Bay wins out and you lose 1 like to your dada up in San Francisco, if that scenario were to transpire, Green Bay gets your spot. See what I mean? It's a thin line, razor thin, the margin between success and failure, L's and dubs. It's a zero-sum game. You know it better than anyone, and yet you persist in pushing your nephews and cousins and relatives to the forefront and costing the team in the process. And now there's another one. We'll get to the latest personnel question mark in a little bit when we get into game analysis. But for now, suffice it to say that the things I've been calling for are coming into view. I see them now. Mr. McWonder is employing balance, my folks. BALANCE. Yes, he is. And in running the ball, in being dedicated to it, in being serious about it, committed to it, you open that play action game up wide as can be. You could run a truck through those holes now because they have to bite on the play action. And you've got now the Puka soup in your 11 personnel. That's what you like. We know that. But these are the perfect 3 wide receivers for 11 because they're big guys and they block. Puka blocks. Soup blocks. The Demarcus Robinson blocks. They're all around 6'2" or what have you. And so, yes, they're 3 wide receivers, but they're big ones and they block. And when you have a dynamic, young, willing running back who will run through the wall for you and for his teammates like Kyron Williams, man, you got something there. These people that keep saying you don't have any talent to work with, that's false. You do have talent. You just keep submerging it for your relatives. I've made episodes about how the loss of Brandon Powell to exalt muffins, that's a fatal flaw that's going to kill you in the postseason. Your special teams are atrocious now. They're a wreck. But you don't have any. I mean, all Muffins does is fair catch inside the 5. I thought that was I thought they would teach against that in the old days. Fair catching inside the 5? What are you doing? Just let it bounce in the end zone. It's better you fair catch it than try to run it back. I'll give you that. Because you, like your cousin Stoney, you Muffins have the disorder too. That dreaded disease for a football player. You've got no yak at all. It's a killer. But what you have going for you in your favor is you're a relative or a favorite of Mr. McGenius himself. For some reason, I suspect because you remind him of him. And that is the fly in the soup. Not that soup. The Rams' offensive soup. That's the fly. Well, there's a couple flies. But I say all that to say, and just as an aside, did you see the San Francisco Bullies they got punched in the nose again? Man, who punched him in the nose the first time? Was it Minnesota? Boom, right in the snoot. Well, Baltimore punched them right in the snoot, right in the nose. Boom, and they were like, well, that's enough. We don't have to. Just, is it time to wrap it up yet? Hey, and so, here's a bit of optimism for my Rams fans out there. The NFC truly is wide open. Okay? It's wide open. San Francisco, I've seen them be punched in the nose and want to go and sit down. I've seen it now a couple of times. And the Rams, had they been doing then what they're doing now, which is now Mr. McWonder is listening to my... I didn't ask him for a penny. I just wanted him to take the advice to heart. Balance, run the ball, open up the play action. And he's doing that now. And they are winning. And I promised him I came up with a principle for him. I came up with the 25-30 principle. I came up with it just for him. I told him, if you will simply follow this principle, you will win. I promised him. And look at it. Look now. You see him? He's following it and he's winning. And that 25-30 principle is a minimum of 25 carries on the ground. And cap your quarterback. Restrain the poltergeist at 30 passes attempted in that ballpark. And I told him, you'll win games. And stay balanced. You'll win games. Look at him now. And I know people say, well, they haven't beat anybody. Who have they beat? Who have they beat? And that is a fair point. Now, the Rams have beaten teams like the Commanders, the Cardinals twice. They beat the Seahawks, which is commendable to beat them twice, But the Seahawks are like a 500 team. Who have they beat? What about winning teams, they say? Well, in fairness, they really haven't. They lost to the Eagles. They lost to them damn Niners. They lost to them damn Cowboys. Okay? I mean, even Pittsburgh beat them. But Mr. McWonder had not fully committed to the principles yet, I don't believe. And now it looks like that he has. And if he does this going forward, he can beat anybody in the league. And so I can only hope he won't forget the principles. Keep the poltergeist restrained. Don't Motown slide. Don't backslide. Stay on this path. And sky's the limit. And contrary to the people who say you don't have talent, man, this guy's got so much talent. Look at Matty from the D, balling out of his mind. And that's who gets my game ball as well as Mr. McWonder, Matty from the D. He's balling like he has drank from the fountain of youth. Like he's well and he's feeling good. And here's the thing for me. He is not turning the ball over. In fact, I have a fantastic stat for you. Okay? A Christmas stat for you. Out of all the quarterbacks in the NFL, all of the starting quarterbacks now, there is only one who hasn't lost a fumble all year. Only one. That's right. That's right. From the LA Rams, Matthew Stafford, Matty from the D, the Doc, has not lost a fumble all year. And now he's not throwing those poltergeist strikes. He's not doing it. He's playing clean. He'll dirt it. He'll get rid of it. He'll throw it long if he doesn't see it. He takes a chance or two. And fortunately in Baltimore, I covered it now. I chronicled it. He almost threw the damn game away at the end of the fourth quarter. But it was a haunted gift that was dropped. Just like Tart. You remember San Francisco. If Tart holds on to that haunted gift from Matty, San Francisco goes to the Super Bowl. And Tart, he fumbled and dropped it. I'm sure it'll live with him in his nightmares forever. And so, if you don't catch it, it doesn't count as a pick. And so Matty is playing clean. And he's throwing from all different angles. And he's limber. He's nimble. He's nifty on his feet. He looks like he's seeing everything clearly. And he's still got an amazing arm and an amazing ability to throw that pigskin. Superior arm talent, they call it. And so, you've got talent, coach. And then Kyren Williams, that's a talented football player you got there. Young, dynamic, powerful, nifty, shifty, darts, jump cuts, accelerate, stutter steps. He's very impressive. So much so that he is the only running back in the Sean McGenius era to get 1,000 yards on the ground in a season other than the first one, Ty Gurley. Only Ty Gurley and Kyren Williams. And Kyren Williams, now 1,000-yard season, and he missed 4 games, and there's still 2 more games to go. That should tell you, if he hadn't missed those games with the injury, he'd be leading the league in rushing. He's second only to McCaffrey. All right, so Kyren Williams cracked the 100-yard mark yet again, running with ferocity. Okay? And so you've got talent there. You got Super Cup there. Higbee is more than serviceable at tight end. A willing blocker, makes great catches. You know, he's had some injury issues, but you've got talent. And then the Demarcus Robinson to complement that wide receiver trio, and then the continuity, the consistency shown out of that offensive line, and you got Note Go Boom now to fill in if there's any type of line issue. A man goes down, Note Go Boom goes in. Okay, but you're starting 5 linemen, consistent, balling. Alaric Jackson, undrafted, free agent. Okay, he's your left tackle, balling. Steve Avila's a rookie. Left guard, balling. Now, Shelton's been there for a while at center, balling. And Dotson at right guard just took over the position. Just cemented it. It's his. And then Havenstein at right tackle, your staple, Havenstein. I'm just giving you holiday stats and trinkets now, and I've told you before, now there's only 2 St. Louis Rams still balling here in LA, and that is AD99 the Beast and Rob Havenstein. And so there you have it. Now you've got talent, coach. They should stop with that narrative that he has no talent. That's false. Where the problem comes in is with your backups, because you got all your family members there. See? That's where your depth is a problem, because you have shooed away talent, what I call nephewtism, to implement your family. And that's subpar NFL talent. Okay? So that's just what it is. But the bullies from the Bay got busted in the nose now. And so the NFC is wide open. And though the Rams really haven't beat anybody, the way they played Baltimore showed me something. You dig? It showed me something. Now, you saw what Baltimore just did to them damn Niners. They whooped up on them real good. Wasn't even close. Went to their place. Went out flew across the country to Cali and whooped them. Whereas the Rams went to Baltimore in the rain, in the winter, went to Baltimore and should have won, had them if it wasn't for, were it not for muffin punts and giving us no yak at all in the punt return game. Were it not for that awful McSquandered McBlunder to start the game, first and goal at the 5 after 9 straight runs, and you squander it with passes, incomplete, and so forth. No. They could have beat Baltimore. They should have beat them. And that showed me a lot. That run game is strong, coach. Stay with it. Don't be lulled into playing somebody else's game, man. Your game ought to be power run principles. And play action off of that, and then let Matty and those wide receivers eat. You got to do it that way, coach. You got to run to set up all that stuff you love. Your pass happiest can go to town when you run first and establish it. And then keep it balanced. You do that, you'll win. So I think the Rams have turned a corner. That's what I think. And so, despite the gushing from the national media and the narrative, I too must say, well done, Coach McGenius. And that's why he gets a game ball as well, but I can't give him an A. I've got to still give him an A-. We'll get to that in game analysis, my folks. It's time for game analysis. Let's get right to it now. And New Orleans starts out on offense, and very early on, I'm put in the mind of Sean Payton. And this is because I see early on in the sequence, I see Taysom Hill run out, and they're still doing that thing. You know, the Taysom Hill experiment where he wildcats it. They're still doing that. Dennis Allen kept that there in the in the playbook. I couldn't help but think about Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Now, you saw him, how he tore into Russell Wilson. He tore into him. Bit him off a new one, okay? And, you know, I think it's a fair point. You never saw him act that way with Drew Brees, did you? Never, not once. And you saw all the people, including the ferret, justifying Sean Payton. Well, you know, he has to, as a coach, no, he doesn't have to emasculate Russ like that. Russ got enough problems, don't you think? And so I start thinking about it. I'm like, you know, Sean Payton doesn't strike me as a very good fellow. Do you remember his time in New Orleans? Remember how it was marred by Bountygate? Remember Bountygate? That was Sean Payton. How he would put bounties on the opposing players' heads. If you could knock them out the game, if you could injure them, if you could cause them to be lifted on a stretcher, all these different types of levels of injury. If you can achieve any of these, you get extra, you get bonus. Bountygate. Okay? And his defensive coordinator at the time, Greg Williams, they put a nice, I don't remember how many years it was. Was it a year, 2 years where he couldn't coach at all? Sean Payton kind of got away easy. He, you know, like any Don, he blamed his second in command. It was Greg Williams doing. I didn't know anything about it. That was under Sean Payton. Okay? And then the way he runs his mouth about the guy he replaced, and I admit, Hackett wasn't very good, but why would Sean Payton need to reiterate that, to say that? You know. And the way he started, he deserved to start off like that. After the things he said about Hackett. And then he started winning and he got full of himself. And now he bites his quarterback a new one publicly on the sideline in front of the world. So I hope they don't win any games or continue to wallow in mediocrity because of him. I don't care for him. And now back to the game analysis. The Rams take over on offense after the New Orleans punt. It's Muffins. It's one of the relatives. And he's fair catching, no yak at all, inside the 5. What in the world? So this first drive now, it's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty, and McGenius unveils the wrinkles right away. And so what is it this week? Well, we got a lot of pre-snap motion. The wide receivers and the tight end, they are running a mile in pre-snap motion. So first play of the game, and it is Soup, and he's running from left to right in motion, and they hand off to K. Will up the gut, 7 yards. Nice start. And so 2nd and 3 now. And this time, Soup in motion again. And this time, again, it's Soup from left to right. On the snap, Matty in the pistol this time. Hits Higbee in the flat, and he rumbles down the sideline. And he picks up a nice gain of 22 big yards, and then the very next play. Now it's Puka in motion, and he goes from left to right, and then he stops and he changes direction back to the left, and on the snap they pitch to K. Will, and he runs for 4 yards, and you see the wrinkle, that pre-snap motion, and it's, as they say, it's eye candy for the defense. And what I came to realize as the game progressed is that it's usually in this particular game, it was usually the motion man who Matty went to with the pass, and he was almost always open for it. And so the drive gets off to a very nice start. And the analyst, Herb Street, he comments, the offense of the Rams, it's such a balanced attack. And I'm like, I wonder who's been calling for balance on the offense, huh? Okay, so back to the game now. Matty, he fires off target for Soup, bringing up a 3rd and 6. And so Matty is in the gun, and now it's 3rd and 6, and McGenius employing trips, bunch formations quite a bit, and I like that too. And he's got K. Will motioning onto the line of scrimmage, and so it's empty backfield now, and McG throwing. Matty hits Puka on the crosser, and Puka running hard, breaking tackles, getting his jersey shredded, 12 big yards, first down, Rams. And now out of the pistol, K. Will, 5 more, running hard. And then the DeMarcus Robinson on the shallow crosser, 15 more yards. And now with the New Orleans 25-yard line. And now Matty from the D fires a dart, and he was throwing darts and dimes now. A dart to Soup on the outcut. Soup, and that's down to the 13-yard line. In the red zone, McG puts Matty back under center. And I like this too, what I'm seeing from McWonder. What he's doing. Dr. McGenius, he's shifting Matty from under center to the pistol, to the gun, and back and forth. And the defense doesn't know what bag Matty's coming out of. And then he's got all this pre-snap motion with the wide receivers primarily and the tight end. And it's working. The drive is progressing marvelously. They are matriculating the ball right down the field. It's first down L.A. with the ball, the New Orleans 13-yard line, let's call it. And now we've seen now for the past 3 consecutive games, we've seen the Rams take that opening possession and march right down the field into the red zone, into even a 1st and goal situation. And then we've seen lapses in judgment by the play caller. We've seen them abandon the run, and we've seen them squander touchdowns in favor of field goals. And so I've made a point of this in previous episodes, that McGenius has to learn from these mistakes, that he can't keep repeating them over and over, expecting a different outcome. And so it's very important now for me to see what the coach does here. All right? So let's go through it now. It's 1st and 10. The Rams are at the 13-yard line. This, for me, is a very monumental sequence. First down, there's a penalty, a false start on McGenius' relative, Allen. And you know I'm thinking, oh, no, look at your kinfolk, McGenius. Look at him. And so the first thought I had was, where is Bryson Hopkins? But they've subbed out Higbee, and that's understandable. You got to get a blow. They've subbed out Higbee, but they've subbed in the kinfolk. They've subbed in Allen. And I've got a nickname for Allen now. I'm going to call him Cousin Allen. They subbed in Cousin Allen because I believe he must be somehow related to Mr. McWonder. And so Allen, the cousin, comes in. And immediately, false start. Oh, damn, cousin, get out. So now, it's 1st and 15. And then, the next play, Soup gets stuffed. Loss of 3, and it's 2nd and 18. And I'm like, here we go. See? What have you done now? You drove with ease down to the 13-yard line, and then your relative commits a penalty, and you're behind the sticks, and then you're throwing the Soup for nothing, and you lose 3, and it's 2nd and 18. McWonder, have you not learned anything from Baltimore? Have you not learned from past mistakes? And then, my folks, like a ray of sun peeking through the clouds, McGenius surprises me. He shocks me, matter of fact. It wasn't a ray of sun. It was a sunburst. Because what does he do on 2nd and 18 with that pass happiest condition? No, McGenius shocks me, and he hands the ball off to his running back out of the pistol. He hands off to K. Will, who carries it for 10. Yes, McGenius. And so that does bring up a 3rd and 8, but I'm heartened by the fact that the coach, made an adjustment. He changed from his past happiest ways in the red zone, and he actually handed the ball to his running back. And he got 10 yards out of it too. But on 3rd and 8, McWonder is throwing again. Personally, I would have run there too. But he's throwing again. He's throwing to K. Will, who, he was impeded on his route move, but in all fairness, the out-coach Dennis Allen was right. That pass was like a throwaway. It was not catchable. But they impeded K. Will, and the refs, the zebras, threw the yellow laundry. PI, 1st down, and the Rams get new life. They get a reprieve. Because you know what I would have said if that would have been incomplete and they had to kick that field goal. I would have said, ah! But that was not the case. And so, you have to have a little luck sometimes too. But that 1st down, why, I'll be damned, but if it isn't here again. The test has come again. First drive of the game is 1st and goal from the 5. Just like last week. Just like the week before. And in consecutive weeks, you opted to throw, and you got nothing, and you had to settle for the heuristic experience and take 3 instead of 7. And so now here it is. It's 1st and goal. And this time, it's New Orleans. 1st and goal from the 5. What will McWonder do? He's running the ball. Maybe he watched my episode, my folks. He is handing the ball off to K. Will. And K. Will gets a couple of 3. And it's 2nd and goal now, right? From around the 2.5 yard line. What will McWonder do? He hands the ball to K. Will again. And K. Will only gets 1 or 2. But you see, my folks, you see the progression. You see the evolution. You see the growth. McWonder he's growing right before our eyes. He's improving. He's shown a willingness to change. But my point is, 1st and goal from the 5, he ran. 2nd and goal from the 2.5, he ran again. And so 3rd and goal from the 2 or so, I would have run again myself. But McGenius is throwing. I'm not going to be mad at him. He is throwing. 3rd and goal from the 2, he is throwing. The pass for Soup is not perfect. It's a little hot. It's a little outside. Soup, in his best moments pulls that in for the score. But in this instance, he couldn't pull it in. 4th and goal from the 2. Is he going to take another 3 points on the opening drive? No, not today. He's going for it. And I'm all for him going for it there. And so 4th and goal, I should say, 4th and goal from the 2. I like that McGenius is going for it here. And so here it is now. 4th and goal from the 2. And Matty is in the gun. And McGenius has them lined up 2 by 2. He's got the Demarcus Robinson. And Soup is set left. And then set right, he's got Higbee and Puka. But then Soup motions out of that formation, and, well, now we've got trips right. And on the snap, Matty fires a dart. Puka, touchdown, LA, touchdown, Rams. McGenius comes through. The Rams come through. Matty, Puka, K. Will, they come through. They put 7 points up on the board. And the Rams are off and running. And it is not a repeat of the previous 2 weeks, thankfully. 95 yards because, Muffins Fair caught the ball at the 5. 95 yards, 8 minutes, 7-0. 7-0 LA. Only 7-0 Dennis Allen. He gets a little jittery. He gets a little jumpy. He decides to go for a 4th and 5. And, well, Kobe Turner conducts his way through a sack. Down goes Carr. Grazing on that SoFi turf. And the Rams take over on downs. And it seemed like a foolish decision by Dennis Allen. I guess he just couldn't bring himself to punt the ball down 7-0. And I think he felt he needed to try to put points on the board, but it backfired. Talk about not learning from his mistakes. Dennis Allen did not learn, as we would find out later in this game. But the Rams take over on offense now. On this very next possession, the Rams drive again. Brilliant blend of pass and run. And so they drive down inside the 10-yard line. They set up 1st and goal at about the 9-yard line. And here's that test that I spoke of for the coach. Yet again, have you learned? 1st and goal. And he's running the ball with K. Will for 3 or 4. 2nd and goal. He runs again. And I give kudos to the coach, Coach McWonder, Coach McGenius. I give him his props, and I give him a game ball. And even though K. Will did not get in on that particular possession, showing that commitment to the run, that dedication to the run, it pays dividends in the play action game later, as we saw. And so the Haversick experience comes on and converts, and it's 10-0 LA, 10-0 Rams. And now New Orleans goes 3 and out, and the Rams defense is pitching a shutout, and New Orleans punts, and Muffins is back, and I'm like, stay away from it. Stay away from it, Muffins. You got no yak at all. And so now, under 7 minutes left before halftime, and the Rams with the ball again, and LA is at their own 37, and Matty is in the gun. And I wanna go ahead and highlight this particular sequence now. I want to highlight Matty from the D in all his splendor. And so on this particular play, Soup is in motion from left to right. Matty takes the snap, and he's looking for a target, but there's nothing open, and he's tapping his feet. Matty gets the tap dancing like Gregory Hines, and he's patting the ball, and he sidesteps. He escapes the pocket, and he slides. He sidesteps left, looking, and there's still nothing there. And then finally, at the last minute, he sees TDR, the DeMarcus Robinson, and he side arms it. He slings it across a dart, complete. And I just have to give credit the way Matty from the D is manipulating the defenses, the way he's throwing the ball off platform, off schedule with ease, sidearm, underarm, bowling for dollars. He can make every throw on the field. He misses some, sure, but I said last episode that Matty was playing top 5 QB. Right now, I want to go ahead and upgrade that to top 3 QB. I think he's top 3 QB play in the league right now. It would be hard for me to put anybody other than the Magic Man, Lamar Jackson, ahead of him. I'd rank Lamar the Magic Man first, Matty from the D second, and then probably 2 or 3rd. In that order, I would say. Right now, that's the caliber of quarterback that Matt Stafford is playing. Despite wonderful QB play from Matty and the DeMarcus Robinson just showing up, showing out, balling out. Despite all that, the Haversick experience is called upon, and he hooks it. It's wide left. Haversick. And so there are still issues now with the Rams, and special teams and nepotism is front and center. Let's fast forward now to the end of the second quarter. And now it's 10-7 LA now at this point in the game. 10-7 LA. And I'm telling you, Dennis Allen, coach of the Saints, did not have a good game on Thursday night. So, 4th and 5, Dennis Allen, only down 3 now. It's 10-7. Dennis Allen decides, let's not play it safe and punt. Let's go for it again on 4th and 5, knowing you took a sack and had your quarterback grazing on the turf on the last 4th and 5. But Dennis Allen doesn't heed his past experience, and he goes for it again, much to the Rams' delight. And so, Carr in the gun, fires hot. And, the pass was there. It was a little behind the receiver. Olave, I think his name is. It was a little behind him. It was a little hot, but he probably should have caught it, but it's incomplete, and they turned the ball over on downs. And so under a minute left before halftime, and now the Rams and Matty from the D have the ball. And so now it's first down at the New Orleans 26. And now Matty in the gun, and on the snap, it is Higbee who gets the rock. And as I say, it looks like that motion man in this week's wrinkle was getting the target. And so now it's 2nd and 6. And then next play, Matty from the D, complete over the middle. Puka for 11. First down, timeout, 30 seconds left in the half. This time, Matty from the pistol, hands off. K. Will, 7. Timeout LA. I love it. Now 25 seconds left. And Matty in empty gun now. Fires. Back of the end zone. Who is it? The DeMarcus Robinson. And you know this. Matty threw it up where only his receiver with the hands could pull it down. The DeMarcus Robinson touchdown, LA. Touchdown. Matty from the D to TDR. Touchdown, McGenius. And the Saints pay a heavy price. And so you see now that when the defense can't just load up on you passing in the red zone, when they know that you will give the ball to your running back, it puts them at a huge disadvantage. And you've got people at the skill positions, coach, that can cash it in and make them pay. And that's what we saw. And so at halftime, it is 17-7 Rams. So let's move ahead in the game now. It's third quarter, and where we pick up, the Rams are up 20-7, and they have the ball and they're driving yet again. So let's go through it now. It's first down Rams at the New Orleans 27, right? And Matty is under center, and they, McGenius, he's got bunch left, right? Tutu is in the slot, right? And they hand the ball to K. Will, and it's a counter run play, right? With Tutu out there blocking. Tutu. He's still there, yeah? And now it's the red zone, right? And K. Will, he gets another carry. Yeah, second in a row now. And K. Will is darting. He's dancing. And he's running hard, carrying defenders 7 more yards. And then, just like out of a movie, it seemed like, or like it was scripted or something, the camera cuts away to K. Will's mom. K. Will's mom is in the stands right there, and she's proud. Yeah, baby, yelling for her baby, right? And right on cue, they cut back. K. Will carries again, his third consecutive run, and now from the 10, it was almost as though he could hear his mother's voice, and she's like saying, "Block for my baby. Come on, baby." And they give the ball to K. Will, and he plows in like nobody was going to stop him from scoring that touchdown. And look at McWonder. 4 consecutive runs in the red zone. Yes, sir. This is what I'm talking about. And so K. Will, touchdown LA. And he runs over to Mama Bear and he throws her the ball. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And it's like everything is beautiful. And the Rams are just whooping up on the Saints. And it's 27-7, and it'll be 30-7 deep into the fourth quarter, you understand. And it should have been over. Should have been. But no. Actually, no. Because P&P, in this case, personnel. And see, this is what you're not going to get anywhere else, my folks. This is why you have to stick around and come here, because I'm going to give you the real. They won't tell you, the ferret in them. They won't tell you. They won't share this with you. You have to watch the games carefully, or else you'll miss it. I mean, 27-7, and there's balance, and there's power run game, and the offense is rolling. It's just like I've been calling for, right? For weeks. And I will say, this is the perfect time. If you're going to start rolling and get hot, do it in December. But there's issues that still have to be cleaned up, my folks. And so, I don't know. I wonder, for example, if Evans can do the punting, and if Evans kicks off, why can't Evans kick the field goal? I'm just wondering. It's just a question. I mean, why the Haversick experience if Evans got the leg to do it all? I'm just wondering. Someone let me know. But I give McGenius his praises. As you can see, I've been heaping praise upon him, like the narrative, like the rest of the national media, like even the ferret. Well, not like the ferret. But I have to point out that personnel and play calling will be your bugaboo. It will be what haunts you. It will be what bites you in your ass in the postseason if you get there. If you don't get a handle on it, shore it up, correct it, McWonder. And so in this case, specifically what I'm referring to is one of your relatives again here, personnel now. And I'm specifically talking about Cousin Allen. Okay? Now, at one point in the broadcast, Al Michaels, the play-by-play announcer, said, "Oh, that's a penalty on Davis Allen. He's third on the depth chart behind Higbee and Bryson Hopkins." And I was like, "No, Al Michaels, where are you getting your information? Bryson Hopkins isn't ahead of Cousin Allen. Cousin Allen has been elevated. They didn't tell you in the pregame, Al Michaels. We haven't seen Bryson Hopkins. Have you? Anyone out there, have you seen Bryson Hopkins running around at all lately? No, it's been Davis Allen out there making all kind of blunders and mistakes. Cousin Allen, see? That's who McWonder has been going to. Cousin Allen dropping passes in overtime. Cousin Allen getting penalties. Cousin Allen. And it was Cousin Allen again against New Orleans. And you're only going to get this here, my folks. You're only going to get it here. But these kinds of McBlunders in personnel and play calling, these will cost you in the postseason if you get that far. So let's look at it now. They're up 30-7 well into the fourth quarter. And New Orleans scored 8 on. It was a good touchdown drive. Give them credit. They finally mustered a good touchdown drive up, and they put it up, and they got the 2-point conversion. You give them credit. So it's 30-15. Okay? 30-15. But the Rams have the game well under control now, and the Rams are back on offense. All right. What I'm talking about specifically is Cousin Allen. His blunders directly led to the sequence that resulted in the block punt, and New Orleans scored 8 more points from that block punt. And so that created a 1-score game. From 30-7, the Rams now were looking at a 30-22, and again, they're looking at possibly having to deal with overtime because they couldn't close out a team that they had a stranglehold over. But how did it happen? All right. It's 30-15. The Rams got the ball. And so Kyron Williams, a 30-yard run, a beautiful 30-yard run is called back. Why? Cousin Allen. Cousin Allen in the game is holding, and they caught him, and it was in the hand in the cookie jar. You could see he's got his hand inside the defender's breastplate. Cousin Allen holding on a play that was inconsequential to the run. And it's called back, a 32-yard run. It would have been first down in the red zone. Rams, instead, it's called all the way back. And now the Rams are looking at a 1st and 20, well behind the sticks, and they can't recover from that. See? So they have to punt as a result of that blockheaded mental blunder. See? Okay. But it gets worse for Cousin Allen. It gets worse, my folks, because he compounds upon the mental error with the holding penalty, which sets the Rams back behind the sticks and forces them to punt. He compounds upon that because he's on the punt team. And on the punt, Cousin Allen, Davis Allen, McGenius relative, Cousin Allen, doubles the inside rusher. He leaves his man, the outside rusher, he leaves him free. And that man waltzes in and blocks the punt. And that is the block punt that led to the 8-point touchdown and 2-point conversion. Thanks a lot, cousin. And so you see now, once again, there it is. Personnel biting the Rams. And that is a direct result of a bad decision by Coach McBlunder to elevate his cousin, Allen, over Bryson Hopkins. Your penalties, mental errors, missing assignments, allowing for blocked punts. Davis Allen, your cousin, is killing you. And why has he been exalted over Bryson Hopkins? What did Bryson Hopkins do wrong? I ask you. This is what the ferret and the national media and the narrative will never tell you. Now, down just a score. Well, New Orleans is onside kicking, and so here now we get the Puka show to close it out. Puka is on the hands team, and Puka fields the onside kick, and he bobbles it initially, but he reels it in. He said in the postgame it seemed like it was in slow motion. I understand what he's saying, but he pulls it in, and then to really finish it off, it is 2nd and 5 now, and New Orleans is out of timeouts, and Puka takes the handoff off that motion, and he makes the edge, and he's hit at the line of scrimmage. I mean, the guy was shot out of a cannon like a missile. He hits Puka, but he doesn't wrap him. He hits him, and I guess most guys would go flying the other way, but Puka took that hit and continued on his way. He made the edge down the sideline, and then after taking that hit, he still had his wits about him, and he knew not to go out of bounds, and down he went in bounds. And that first down wrapped it up, and from his seat on the Haunted Palace turf, Puka once again roars like Mufasa. Game over. And game ball, Puka Nacua. He shouldn't have had to get that close, though. But just a couple plays after Cousin Allen's sequence of blunders, Carr went over the top for that bomb, and to see that's how it happens. A little thing, that margin of error, can swing a whole game around. And so I have to put the minus on the grade for the coach in spite of the balance and in spite of the ingenuity in the offensive game plan. I have to tack that minus on because your relatives are killing you. And Cousin Allen tried to kill you. Fortunately, you survived. And so the Rams do pull it out, and I'm not going to be a downer here. A dub is a dub, and that's the bottom line. L's and dubs, dubs and L's, which one is it? And McGenius got the dub, but he did confess in the post game that he had gotten away from some foundational principles, and that he said maybe he did. Maybe he had gotten away from them. And yes, Coach, yes, you did. You have. But I like the self-awareness there. And I like what I'm seeing. The proof is in the pudding. It's in what you put out on tape. And what I'm seeing is evolution. You're not stuck in your ways, hopelessly afflicted by past happiness. I'm happy to report. And so when asked in the post-game presser what had gone into his decision to go for that 4th and goal, the first possession of the game, McGenius spoke about his confidence in the execution of his players. And then he also added, I didn't want to hear you guys criticize me for the freaking red zone shit. That's what he said. Now, that's a quote. That is a quote. Okay, well, not this week, Coach. Not this week. No criticism for your red zone play calling this week. McGenius, game ball. And so, Matty from the D, game ball. Matty not lost a fumble all year. The only NFL QB, the only starting NFL QB who has not lost a fumble in the NFL. Matty also is the first quarterback in Rams franchise history to throw at least 2 touchdowns in 4 consecutive games with no poltergeist strikes. Very impressive. And that's an interesting stat. Kurt Warner didn't do that, huh? Matty is the only QB in Rams franchise history to throw at least 2 touchdowns in 4 consecutive games without an interception. Game ball. Matty from the D. Game ball. Game ball. Puka. The most 150-yard from scrimmage games by a rookie in the Super Bowl era. Huh? The most 150-plus yard scrimmage games by a rookie receiver in the Super Bowl era. That means not Jerry Rice, not Moss, not Megatron. Puka has the most. Wow. Game ball. Puka. Looking at the numbers, well, the Rams, they clearly outplayed him. They had 458 yards of total offense, over 120 yards more than New Orleans. They had 325 passing yards, 133 rushing yards. They had 6.8 yards per play, 23 first downs. They were only 4 of 12 on third down, but they did run 67 plays. And they were clean. No fumbles, no poltergeist strikes. They had nearly a 10-minute greater time of possession than did the Saints. There were only a couple punts. Looking at the numbers in specific, well, let's talk about the 25-30 principle now, because that's where it is, my folks. And so we want to cap Matty at about 30 attempts. What did he have? 34 attempts. I can't quarrel with that. 34 is right there in the ballpark. I like it. Matty, 24 of 34. 328, 2 touchdowns, no poltergeist strikes. And then the run game. We want a minimum of 25 run plays. What did Mr. McWonder give us? Williams was 22 for 104 by himself. A nice 4.7 yard per carry average plus the touchdown. Mr. Rivers had 6 carries for 20 yards. And Puka, he got a couple of carries. And Soup even had one, although he lost yards on his. But that's a total of 28, 30, 31 carries. So that's, wait a minute now. Mr. McWonder, 31 carries, 34 pass attempts. What is that, my folks? That's balance. That is balance. And that is how you do it. He nailed it, the 25-30 principle. 31 rushing plays, 34 pass plays, 31-34 is balance. And so congratulations, Mr. McGenius. The McWonder loves 11 personnel. You know that. That's 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end. That's what he likes now. And with these bigger wide receivers, they are effective in the run game. And so that works for him. And he can use a lot of variations off that 11 personnel theme. And so in this particular game, of note, there were only 4 players who had catches. 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end. That's it. Higbee got 3 catches. Soup had 6 catches. The Demarcus Robinson, honorable mention for a game ball. 6 catches for 82 yards. He was Johnny on the spot with the touchdown. Nakua, 9 more receptions, 164 yards, 18.2 yards per and hard. Contested catches, speed, power, grace is all there with this unbelievable rookie. Got to give Les needs to credit for scoring, for connecting on these late round picks. These are 5th round picks. Puka was a 5th round pick this year. Kyren Williams, a 5th round pick last year. And so he's nailing these late round picks. And so you've got to give him credit. And speaking of K. Will, honorable mention this week, but K. Will, he's the first running back since Todd Gurley to rush for over 1,000 yards for Mr. McWonder. And K. Will, second in the NFL now in rushing. He's had 6 consecutive 100-yard plus games from scrimmage. In that regard, he's the first Ram to do that since Steven Jackson, the St. Louis Rams in '09. Okay? When Kyren Williams was a kid in St. Louis watching his beloved Rams, and now he's toting the rock for him, and he's doing big things. So K. Will, 1,057 yards on the season and having missed 4 games with 2 games still to play. Big up! Big up. Just to finish up now, Matty from the D. This is his 4th consecutive game with 250 plus passing yards. He's got a 93 QBR quarterback rating on the season, over 3,600 pass yards. He's cut down on all those poltergeist strikes and playing like he has discovered a new lease on life. And the Demarcus Robinson, touchdowns in 4 consecutive games for the Rams. Yes, and he now is the 3rd wideout in that wide receiver trio that brew the Puka soup. And the defense. And I've named them Kobe Turner and Ernest Jones and Byron Young and Witherspoon and Kendricks and Lake. And of course, AD 99. Just big up to Raheem Morris and the job he's doing with the D. But that dead last special teams has bit the Rams again now. And so that's going to hurt you in the postseason if you get that far, if you don't show it up, McWonder. All right. And so let's now finally, and this has been an epic episode, but let's finally now take a look at what is to come. Well, the Rams sit right now firmly in the number 6 seed. Were the playoffs to start today, who would they play? My folks, they would be traveling to Detroit to take on the Golfer, the Lions, in Detroit. What a delectable, what a tasty morsel that game would be, wouldn't it? McGenius and his banished quarterback, the Golfer, exiled from the kingdom, and Matty from the D, coming from Detroit, would be going back home to try and put the stake in the kneecap biting Lions. I'd enjoy that immensely. I tell you that right now. But there's still 2 games left, and a lot can change. And for the Rams, it's real simple. Just win, baby, win, and you are in. But if you lose one, then all of those past ghosts might just get you. Like Green Bay. And so, the first order of business is you whoop them stinking Giants in New York. You take care of that, check. And then that sets up that final week in San Francisco. And your father, your dada, Father Shanahan. Oh, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very intriguing. And so, I will be here to cover it, bringing you the inside scoop as only I am able to do. And so, what I need from you, what I'm asking you to do, is throw me one of these. Okay? Put your thumb together. Throw me one of these. Please like the video. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. And please subscribe if you haven't already. And then until the next time, which you can be sure won't be too long from this time, my friend Scotty says, one love.